All right, let's get into this. We're talking about a guy named Daniel who, on the outside, looks like he had it all figured out by 25. You know the type. Good job, nice place, always out with friends. But behind all that, he was hiding a pretty big secret, one that was about to come crashing down. And this right here, this says it all. On one hand, he's making a decent living, right? $52,000 a year. But on the other, his actual real-time bank balance was $47. 47. So what on earth was going on? How does that even happen? Well, it all starts with this illusion of success. If you were his friend or coworker, you'd think he was doing great. He had a car, a pretty active social life. He was living the life you'd expect for someone earning his salary. But it was all just a carefully constructed image. Because when you peel back that one layer, this was the reality. He was secretly drowning in over $8,300 of credit card debt. And that's not even counting the student loans he was basically pretending didn't exist. This was the real picture. He was stuck in this absolutely brutal monthly cycle. You know how it is. The paycheck hits his account, and for a few days, he feels on top of the world. Then, bam, rent, car payments, all the subscriptions hit. By the middle of the month, that familiar anxiety creeps in. And by the end, he's swiping the credit card just to get by, digging himself deeper and deeper into that hole. And this was the lie he kept telling himself. It's such a common trap, right? Oh, when I get a raise, I'll finally get my act together. But then he actually got a raise. And guess what? Nothing changed. It just poured gasoline on the fire. He just upgraded his spending. Better phone, nicer clothes, more takeout. More money coming in just meant more money flying out. So you think it would take some huge, life-altering event to finally force a change. But for Daniel, it was actually a pretty small, totally random disaster that became the absolute turning point. His car broke down one night. The bill to fix it, a cool $1,200. And he didn't have it. I mean, not even close. Not in his checking, and he definitely didn't have savings. His only option was to pile it onto his already screaming for mercy credit card. But it wasn't really the money that was the final straw. It was the feeling. He was staring at his banking app that night and was just hit by this wave of embarrassment, pure humiliation. He's a 25-year-old professional, and a single, predictable problem like a car repair could completely wipe him out. He was just done. Done with the anxiety, done with the pretending. That was the moment he decided to change. And he didn't do anything crazy or extreme. There was no financial wizardry involved. He just put together a dead simple blueprint for change based on 4 really clear, really practical steps that honestly anybody could use to get back in the driver's seat. And here it is, the whole game plan. First, he had to finally face the numbers. No more hiding. Second, he built a simple, almost boring plan. Third, he started to attack the debt with a focused strategy. And fourth, and this might be the most powerful one, he totally shifted his mindset about what money was even for. So step 1 was just brutal honesty. For the very first time, Daniel sat down and wrote out everything. Every debt, every bill, every little subscription. And the truth was kind of shocking. He found out he was spending almost $900 a month just on restaurants and takeout. Ouch. Seeing it all in black and white was painful, yeah, but it was also incredibly clarifying. Okay, for step 2, the plan. He didn't overcomplicate it. He just adopted a classic rule you've probably heard of, the 50-30-20 budget. The idea is simple. 50% of his take-home pay goes to needs, like rent and groceries. 30% goes to wants. And that last 20%, that goes directly to savings and paying down debt. But here's the absolute game changer. He couldn't quite hit that 20% for savings right away, so he started smaller with just 10%. The key was that he automated it. The second his paycheck landed, 10% was automatically whisked away into a separate savings account before he could even see it, before he could spend it. Out of sight, out of mind. Now for attacking the debt. He didn't try to pay off everything at once. He chose one enemy, the credit card with the highest, most painful interest rate. He threw every spare dollar he could find at that one card, while just paying the minimum on the others. And look at the progress. By month 7, that first card was completely paid off. That feeling of victory, it just fueled his momentum. Step 4 was the big internal shift. He realized so much of his spending was just to maintain an image, posting fancy dinners on Instagram, buying new outfits for a party. So he developed this one simple, powerful question he'd ask himself before buying anything that wasn't a necessity. Does this improve my life or just my image? Wow, that one question saved him thousands. So after all that work, what was the payoff? Let's take a look at the actual results after just 1 year of this new way of life. It's not about getting rich quick, it's about something so much more important. I mean, just look at this. The transformation is incredible. He went from a terrifying $47 to his name to a solid $5,000 emergency fund. And that's not just money, you guys. That's a safety net. That's breathing room. That's the freedom from that constant fear of what happens if the car breaks down again. So let's just recap the wins after 12 months. He's got that $5,000 in savings. One of those high-interest credit cards is completely gone. And he even started putting a little bit of money into an investment account. No, he's not a millionaire, but for the first time in his adult life, he was actually in control. And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? The most valuable thing he got out of this whole journey wasn't the $5,000. It was peace of mind. No more waking up in a cold sweat about rent. No more panic every time he had to check his bank balance. He was no longer pretending everything was okay, because, finally, it actually was. His whole story just boils down these huge lessons, contrasting the illusions we tell ourselves with the actual reality. He learns that more income is not the answer. Awareness and a simple system are. He realized that big, dramatic changes flame out, but small, automatic habits are what actually work. And maybe most importantly, he learned that looking rich and being financially stable are two completely different things. Daniel's story is just proof that you don't need to win the lottery or get some massive promotion to completely change your financial life. All you need is a simple system and the courage to just start. So the question this whole story leaves us with is a really simple one. What's one small, different thing you can do today